All right, I guess we're already like in way over an hour, so I guess we need to go ahead and hit the news. Luckily, these articles seem to be fairly short.
They're not super long. How do you want to do this?
I think we boom boom. I'll take the first one, and then we're gonna bounce off from those. That way, I get the Blizzard one. Yay!
Sure. Okay.
The first one we got. I think I sent you this article earlier this week. Is
You did.
Let me pull up my Word document. So, Jesus, you wrote a fucking art like novel with these notes, man.
Oh my God! Look, they're just talking points.
All right. So Bloodstained dev ditches the $5 million roguelike stretch goal that it got over 4 years ago after the Kickstarter was a success. So the developer Artplay has made the difficult decision to renege. Yeah, I don't know why I said renegade on a Kickstarter goal 4 years after it was reached. In a post on the Bloodstained Kickstarter page, Koji Igarashi announced that the game mode roguelike will be canceled, stating that the code that was created in the early phases of development is currently not compatible with Bloodstained's gameplay, especially a procedurally generated castle. I think he even said from the get-go that code would not be possible, which that red flagged me. I'm like, if you knew that was possible, why would you put that as a stretch goal?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get through the meat of the information, then we can talk about it. Instead, Artplay promised to release a game mode called Randomizer to take its place. In Randomizer, the player can experience the story in a brand new light. Before starting the game, players can choose up to 8 different parameters to be randomized during the playthrough. For example, you can either shuffle the positions of key items or scatter them through the castle in random positions. Enemy shards and items can be shuffled between themselves. Everything from shops to crafting requirements to quest rewards can be manipulated. The mode will also ensure that you would not be given bad seed that you could soft lock the game. So absolute key items that you need to progress in the game will still show up where they need to be, which I think
or at least in a position that you're able to get during that time.
Yeah, I think there's like a link to the past randomizer that you can get soft locked out of sometimes.
Oh, there's plenty of, like, I was playing an Ocarina of Time randomizer, and they have one where do you want absolute chaos, or do you want to know that you can beat the game?
Okay.
It's not uncommon.
Right. Roguelike was originally meant to add a procedurally generated dungeon. Per the original post, quote, in this mode, you'll face a new castle every time, braving its treacherous and massive halls for loot, glory, and the simple, satisfying feeling of going where no Miriam has gone before. Once you've explored its passages and defeated its boss, you'll get a code that will enable you to share your randomly generated dungeon with a friend. If you find a particularly hard one, you can share it with an enemy. IGA isn't picky. So, this is a weird one because, yes, it is completely shitty. I think that they put that as a stretch goal if they knew from the beginning that the game's code would not support a randomizer. I'm sorry, a roguelike.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. Maybe there was like some hope that they can figure out how to do it later on down the road.
Yeah.
And now he's just coming clean with it. To be honest, I do like the idea of a randomizer more than a
yeah, I do
roguelike.
too, actually. I talked to Connor about this too, and Connor said too that he would prefer that.
Yeah. Roguelikes are fun, but I think that when you're doing the randomizer, there's that element of like the desire to speedrun it compared to like a roguelike where it's like I'm being extra cautious because I don't know what I'm going to get later on down the road. And there's obviously an audience for that.
It's more fun to stream randomizers than it is roguelikes.
For us, like I think that randomizers are a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like there's a Final Fantasy X randomizer where they just randomize the fucking sphere grid. I think that's cool as shit.
There's RE2 randomizers. Like there's tons of
that shit is fucking fun as fuck. But it doesn't change the fact that I guess you could say it's false advertising because you knew ahead of time that this system probably wasn't going to be able to be implemented. Why continue to push it?
It would have been different if they didn't know in the beginning. And then they just recently found out, oh, wait, it won't support that. But
Right.
knowing even Igarashi himself said from the get-go they knew the code wouldn't do that. That's pretty shitty. But
Yeah. He
what's
got
good?
lucky.
He did. So I think this is another wonderful 101 situation where he has a good track record. So he's more like people will forgive him a little bit more. There are still some people that are pissed off, but you can look at the good side on this too. At least they came up with another mode to replace it. They could have just been like, "Sorry, it's not going to work. Sorry, guys."
Yeah, I think that that's the reason why that the blow doesn't hit as heavy, because you have the randomizer, which is, I don't want to say it's almost the same thing because it's not,
Yeah.
but it's pretty damn close.
But we also have to see it from the other side of the coin as well. What if we were in the exact opposite situation where we loved roguelikes more than we liked randomizers, and then we just got effed?
Right.
And there are people out there that are like that.
I agree.
So, but Kickstarter, that's been the hot topic lately. So,
Woo-hoo.
yep. So let us know what you think. So you can email us or anything like that. Let us know what you think about some of the Kickstarter stuff that's going on. Message, actually, if you tweet at us on Twitter, that's probably a little bit better.
That's better. I don't think I've shilled our email address in almost a year.
Do the Twitter. The Twitter's the best. Twitter, or comment on our we're starting to get more YouTube comments, so we actually read them. Like, we read them now. I don't know if we'll ever get famous and we're just like, don't read those no more. That's all we got, really.
It could be worse. You could have a paragraph on one of your videos explaining why you're not in your fucking slutty plushy panty
Dude,
and stocking fucking.
I was going to never bring that up, but you're like,
No,
I
it
simultaneously
is what
hate
it
that I
is.
was in this, but I also can't shut the fuck up about it.
You know what? Because at the end of the day, it's funny, and I know it's at
Yeah.
that guy's own expense because now he has to re-record everything, and it's super shitty of me. I am a fucking scumbag, but I don't care because I sleep well at night, especially over that.
I love
Especially
that I got,
not being a part of that.
and apparently you're also a furry. So
Okay, motherfucker.
Do you know how like the shit-eating grin I had on my face Thursday night when everyone started going with it? I was like, uh-oh, I didn't mean for this to be a thing, but the diversion is now off of me. So on Thursday night, for people that didn't watch the stream, I got everyone in the Megavisions to I'm sorry, Chris.
I'm just gonna wait for this whole thing to blow over. I'm not mad.
I'm
not even
disappointed.
I'm not even disappointed. It's really just the annoyance of how everything blew up because it wasn't you. You may think it was you. It wasn't you. It was Scotty. Scotty was the one that started laying it on there because of that stupid comment in our Discord. Whatever.
If you want to know what the comment was, we're not going to tell you. You should join our Discord.
Join the Discord, you'll fucking find out. God damn it.
All right. Take your anger out on Stadia.
Stadia has no fucking value as per indie developer. Stadia continues to struggle, as a new report from Business Insider suggests. Stadia stands alone with 28 games available for streaming, mostly heavy-hitting AAA titles like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Borderlands 3, and Destiny 2. Stadia is also expected to gather more support from major developers from the likes of Doom Eternal and Cyberpunk 2077 coming to the platform. However, there is a notable absence in their indie department, with only 4 games rounding out their catalog. Business Insider met with some prominent indie developers who wish to remain anonymous to discover why games like Shovel Knight, Dead Cells, and Bloodstained weren't on the platform. I want to move this down so I can actually read it.
Your neck's gonna start hurting like I
My
did
neck
whenever I was
so
playing
it's
the
a mix.
N64.
It was a mix between the neck hurting and like me trying to focus my eyes because the font is really small, but it's fine. So, from an anonymous developer, they say, we were approached by the Stadia team, usually with that kind of thing. They lead in with an offer that would give you an incentive to go with them, but the incentive was kind of non-existent, as they said. That's the short of it. It's that there isn't enough money there. One publishing executive we spoke with said. The offer was apparently so low that it wasn't even part of the conversation.
Wow.
When we were looking at these type of deals, another prominent indie developer said, we were looking at, is there enough money where we can have the resources to make what we want? Or is this an exclusivity deal that gives us security? They said. These developers were more or less echoed the same sentiment. Google simply wasn't offering enough money to be worth the hassle. In quote, there are platforms that you want to be on because they have an audience and you want to reach that audience. That's where Steam and Nintendo Switch is at.
Mhm.
They have big groups of people that are on their platform, and you want to be in those groups so that those audiences can play your games. That's the problem that Stadia is facing. Google doesn't have the audience to draw in developers on their side, so they must create incentive.
What
But Google has a track record of trying something new and attempts to get everyone excited about it. Then sooner or later, when they don't get the response that they were expecting, they drop it.
we talked about this weeks ago, where we
Yeah.
had the list. It was basically the Google graveyard,
Mm-hmm.
and because I remember when the Google glasses came out, that's one of them. That's one of the things that got axed. It started so early. Like, it wasn't like recent or like in the last 10 years. Like, even like Google, I gotta applaud Google for trying shit.
Right. Absolutely.
But they also just cut that shit. I mean, I guess that's a good thing. If they start to see that it's bleeding them, then they need to cut it off. But it's also scary to get people with someone that has a track record like that to get behind you. Like, what if Stadia, which Stadia isn't doing well right now, it could just get the plug any minute.
That's the problem that I see with Google, and I'm gonna get into it a little bit to finish this, but
Okay.
Google has commitment issues.
It's that
It's just the best
ex-girlfriend.
way that I can. Yeah, no, they have commitment issues. But no, let's get into it. That's the problem that Stadia is facing. Google doesn't have the audience, and they go into something and they drop it. In quote, if you can see yourself getting into a long-term relationship with Google, but with Google's history, I don't even know if they're working on Stadia in a year from now. That would be something crazy that Google does with given their track record. When Google was reached for a comment, Stadia representative Patrick Saybold offered the following: the publishers and developers that we speak with regularly are very supportive and they want Stadia to succeed. Yeah, no shit, because they're putting their product on your shit. They're
Right?
trying to make money. It's also worth pointing out that not every publisher has announced the games for Stadia so far, so more games will continue to be announced in due course. He went on to continue naming various AAA developers that they currently have a contract with. I think that the core issue is that Google approaches the gaming industry. Google's approach to the gaming industry is that they don't realize the weight that indie games carry
They
within
carry a
the community.
huge amount of weight.
Major developers don't create hit indie games like Stardew Valley or Celeste or any of these smaller games that will fill in the gap for these AAA games that have 4 to 5 year development cycles. One final quote is like, it wasn't just a financial thing. At the end of the day, I'm asking the question, why would I do this? There was no positive reason to move forward. There wasn't really anything to want from us moving forward with Google, just to get in the door and be the first one on the platform. There's no incentive.
Yeah. Who is this for? That's
That's
what we
the
always
issue.
say.
That's the issue. Like, it's easy to see where Microsoft is coming from with this because they already have a platform. They already have their games. So if they come up to you and say, "Hey man, you want to fucking stream? We'll stream.
Yeah.
We have fucking Project X Cloud, and we have what do you call it? We have the fucking the Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
You want to stream Xbox Game Pass? That sounds real cool, guy. Come check this shit out."
I'll stream.
PlayStation has PlayStation Now. PlayStation Now has been, a streaming service on their platform that they've had for a couple of years. But, imagine them cutting a deal with Apple or Nintendo or some other fucking shit. And they say, "Hey, you can now stream PlayStation Now on your fucking Switch or Chromecast or whatever the fuck that you want to do." That seems to be a better deal than Google coming up and it's like, "Hey, we're a new platform, we're Stadia. You know all those games that you already own on all those other platforms? Now you can stream them, but you have to buy them again."
Yeah, no, no.
I just don't see the reason. And
I
again,
th-
yeah,
I think if you
you're
had the indie crowd on that platform with games, because there are a lot of let's be honest, the pricing of AAA games is not the same as for indie games.
mhm.
It would be more entitled if you're like, hey, you gotta buy this game again, but it's also like only a $20 game.
I wanna know who Google hired to be their eyes and ears of the gaming industry. I'm really curious about it because anyone worth their salt would have identified that this was a problem.
Yeah, they like, or the problem has been identified and the higher ups don't want to admit it.
It doesn't make any sense to me, like, especially when you're, like, a tech giant like Google. Because you know what? I bet you if Facebook tried this shit, Facebook would have totally jumped on the whole indie bandwagon.
Yeah,
I mean, they're the ones who started fucking Farmville, like, so goddamn.
I am so happy to admit that I have never played that game.
Neither did
You know
I,
how
but
many
you know what?
Farmville invites I got and how many people I defriended because they kept Farmville inviting me?
Yeah, I mean, you can just mute them. You don't have to fucking cut them out of your life, Corey.
I didn't like them to begin with.
Okay, then that's different.
It was helping. It was a win-win for me.
Okay.
Because
So
if
you
you
just need
invited
that
me
extra
to
push.
Farmville, I found out the kind of person you were.
I'm not gonna lie, I played the game that would later become Clash of Clans, I think.
Get the fuck out of my face.
I don't give a shit. But bro, I was like 15. Get off me. I played it for like 3
Don't say it like that.
Mm. Get off me, Corey.
No, don't say bro, I'm 15. Get off me. I just want everyone to know that I'm a 31-year-old adult and Chris is
You're not helping it.
and
You're not
Chris
helping
is a
it.
29.
No, I turned 30.
We're both old fucks.
Yeah. It's fine.
Anyway,
That's all I got on the whole Google thing. They don't belong
we've
here.
beaten the fucking horse, the dead
I'm
horse.
at the point where I don't want to talk about Stadia anymore.
Oh, we got there. What was the other thing? We don't talk about it anymore, but we've had topics.
I think Fallout 76.
Yeah, we get
Fallout
to the point with
76
topics
hit
where we're just
the-
like, we're
the
done.
hate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're just done.
the hate train stops here. I'm just not interested.
We can only talk about it so many times every week, unless
Yeah, and I'm
something
getting-
huge.
I'm getting there with Blizzard too.
Yeah, like, man. All right, let me go into this. So, our next topic that we got is Warcraft. Blizzard destroys the first Warcraft 3 Reforged tournament with multiple disconnects. After a botch released, Blizzard had the chance to redeem themselves with some public goodwill at the DreamHack Anaheim 2020 Open Cup. While we would love to tell you that everything went well at that event, that's not the case. The event was rife with disconnects throughout the tournament, though most notably occurring between quarterfinals, where Swedish RTS player Marcus Thorzane Eklof played a best-of-3 match against South Korean top player Jang Moon Jaiho. Probably said it wrong.
Probably, but I don't speak Korean, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
Their tags, Moon and Thorzane, have had history in early days of StarCraft 2, where Thorzane was one of the best non-Korean Terran players. Thorzane had some experience with Warcraft 3, but Moon was considered a heavy favorite of the tournament because I think Moon had been with the game for so long and all that. After both players won a game apiece, Thorzane was on the verge of winning Game 3, being an expansion ahead of from Moon, launching an attack on Moon's left flank and gaining some upgrade advantage. And then the game dropped and the character or the players disconnected. According to tournament rules, the match must be restarted rather than resumed from a replay, as Blizzard has done before in Overwatch League and apparently has done in StarCraft 2 as well. After the reset, Thorzane again was able to gain considerable lead against Moon by having a substantial amount of gold and upgrades, and then the match dropped again, and both players were disconnected. To try to fix the issues, the organizers reverted the game back to Warcraft 3 vanilla graphics in order to counter the desync problem, but by that time it was too late. Moon had learned Thorzane's playstyle from what was essentially 2 practice matches, and he closed the series out at 2-1. Those potential losses would have been the only losses Moon would have experienced, as he would go through the win the whole tournament. And Blizzard has since remained mum on the crisis. Surprise, surprise there. And with some of the players stating that Blizzard staff was in attendance and were asked how to fix the issue, who allegedly just shrugged their shoulders and left.
Now that could be conjecture, because that was comments from people who say that they went to DreamHack Anaheim. That's not official.
Yeah. The Warcraft 3 community...
I wouldn't be fucking surprised.
The Warcraft 3 community has since started a GoFundMe for Thorzane, pooling funds to match the difference between making top 8 and making top 4, which is roughly between $1,250 to $2,000. Expected Blizzard response: "We're sorry you didn't get the tournament you expected." That's what we expect them to say. I believe the GoFundMe was I think it was slated at $750.
It was only $750.
I looked it up. They hit it.
They went over.
Yeah, they're at $880, almost $900. So that's cool. That is strictly to show that the community is behind Thorzane and showing that, yes, he would have won both of those. There were some, I don't know if they were racist comments in one of the articles. Do I?
I've seen it. I'm not entertaining it. Some of them were trying to say that they purposely let the Korean player win. One, I don't think that's the case, because there were multiple disconnects throughout the entire tournament. There was at least 6.
Blizzard's shitty, but I'm not gonna say they're that level of shitty.
Yeah, no, I find that really hard to believe. I don't think it's really Moon's fault. No, he was just put in an advantageous spot, to be honest.
Yeah, they both did what they were supposed to do, but Blizzard didn't hold up their end of the bargain.
Yeah,
so that's what's so crazy is you're not I could see maybe game drops if you're continents away, but these guys are almost right next to each other.
Yeah,
in the same room.
Yeah,
and that is just shitty, man. And honestly,
now I'm really curious about their netcode and how it operates, because that's really abnormal.
Yeah. Because before the Reforged and all that stuff, there wasn't these issues. Not to this level. There might have been some disconnect issues, but not in DreamHack final tournaments and shit.
When you're in the same fucking room, that's excessive.
Yeah. Blizzard's got to get their shit together, but this might be the last article we talk about Blizzard, because it's the same shit over and over again. They're just doing more and more shitty shit. They try to put a half-hearted apology, and then... I saw a lot of Diablo 4 stuff came out, interviews with some of the art designers, and they showed a lot of the arts and some of the mechanics in Diablo 4. I read about a lot of that. That seems very interesting. So if you do want to check that out, I'd say go check out the Diablo 4 stuff. But Blizzard continues their shaky track record.
Yeah. Anyway. Speaking of shitty track records, E3 creative director IM8bit drops out of the event. IM8bit is a creative service company that designs video game collectibles and was set to be the creative director for E3 2020. And they have recently announced that they are resigning from that post. In a Twitter statement with mixed emotions, IM8bit stated that they will not participate in what was supposed to be an evolutionary E3 floor experience. They've produced hundreds of gaming and community events and it was a dream to be involved with E3. They wish the organizers the best of luck. This comes off the heels of a previous story where Jeff Keighley announced that he would not be participating in E3 this year. This also continues to paint the grim picture of the state of conventions considering the coronavirus. South by Southwest 2020 was recently canked in the city of Austin. The city of Los Angeles has recently declared a state of emergency considering the threat of the virus, and the ESA has announced that they are closely monitoring the situation and will make announcements about E3 2020 as deemed necessary.
Dude, E3 2020 is going to get canceled.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
It was. I don't want to say it was done before Corona, but it was definitely like on the verge of collapsing.
Yeah.
I think that major conventions like this can usually survive. GDC recently got canceled.
Yeah, they
You
can get canceled and then they'll still be fine
Mhm.
coming up. But
I
yeah,
just feel like there's no interest from the community to continue E3. That may not be true because Microsoft said that they were dedicated to going. Nintendo said that they were definitely going to have like some booths. But
yeah, but
Sony, Facebook, a few others, they all said that they weren't planning on going, whether
yeah.
it be from like E3 being shit or the coronavirus. So it's just a matter of
That's
time.
very it's the first thing I just want to say red flagged because this first Twitter comment is funny. But for someone to say that their dream was to work with E3 and then they're like, "Yeah, we're out. Never mind." Some shit's
You
going
know,
on where they didn't like what was going on.
that could be the case. However, I do believe that, when given an opportunity to pretty much change the way that the convention has been going for the last couple of years, this would have been a huge opportunity for IM 8-bit.
Yeah.
I don't know how big they are. I don't know what else they've done. I know that they've done some smaller things. I know that they've done some bigger things. Like you recently shown off a thing that they did with Capcom for some 30th anniversary collection.
They do a lot of
Um,
vinyl. Like that was one of the things we were seeing this week. Was I think what was it 19XX got a vinyl release.
1980X.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was from IM 8-bit.
hmm
So
So I mean, like this would have been huge for them. I mean, yeah, you're practically working with the devil, but the devil's got money apparently. So I don't think that this is an easy decision that the company made.
yeah, the coronavirus was just like the icing on the shit cake.
hmm
So,
I'd agree with that.
but yeah, like we said last week, just take some precautions, like
Wash
hygiene.
your ass.
Wash your ass. I'm not making another clip called "Wash your ass, wash your hands." That was already one. You just spilled beer all over you.
What?
I thought you did.
What, eh? This
But
beer is weird. This is brewed with oysters, man.
ew.
Yeah, I swear, no, it's good. I don't give a
Fuck
shit.
you. That's
It's
gross.
it's good as shit. Fuck you. It's great.
I can't deal with the loogie food.
It's not loogie.
No, like oyster, like those kinds of shelf. Like I can't deal with oysters and clams. I can eat scallops, but only if they're cooked. But I can't eat like raw oysters and shit, man. That's like a big ass
Nah, dude.
loogie.
So I don't eat oysters. I don't fuck with oysters.
They're
One time I
gross.
got really sick in Florida from eating oysters, but at the same time, that was an all-you-can-eat seafood place. I know
Yeah, I think you
I
made your
know that
decision.
I know that you work off the coast, but still, you know,
All
that
you
that's
can
still a
eat.
red flag.
Yeah, you
Still
got a
all you
bad
can
immune system. We've already established. So
I wasn't vaccinated.
there it is. That's the podcast title. I wasn't vaccinated. Thanks, Mom. Oh shit. Yeah, man. I don't know. E3. That's another one we always keep talking about. It's E3.
It's sad because I always wanted to go to E3.
That was the
One day
dream, man.
was the dream. That was like the American gamer dream. Go to
Yeah.
E3. Now I don't know what it PAX East, I guess.
PAX
But the
East
thing
look
is,
dope.
yeah, PAX East is fucking like
All those indie games that
awesome.
Powell played.
That shit looks so fucking cool.
I
Like
need to
I
look up when
I
PAX
want to
South
go.
is.
I want to go next year.
Because
But
PAX South is in San Antonio, and I go to Austin a lot, so I
yeah,
went.
man.
I need to go.
Yeah, man. You should.
I need
But
to look that up.
I didn't grow up with PAX East. I grew up with E3. That's what I remember, and that's what I
Like
want to
those
go
old
to.
E3s, like or first E3s, those things are dope. Oh, I already missed it. It was in January.
Big rip. That's Magfest time.
It was late January, so no.
Oh. Oh well.
Anyway,
Yep.
what do we got next? Let's see. I don't give a shit about E3 anymore. This one that you said, this must be from the Just Dance stuff. Is that what that header is?
Just Dance?
When Just Dance was at E3?
I guess. I don't
know. This
know.
is Fortnite shit too, so I don't know. This header in this one article you sent me enrages me. So
Let me look. I don't remember seeing that.
I'll let you look at it. It's one of the articles in there. I'll go into the next one. So, key writers are out of Sega of America. 2 writers of the recent 3D Sonic the Hedgehog games may no longer work for Sega of America. Ken Pontac and Warren Graff both have updated their LinkedIn accounts showing that Pontac has been absent since 2018 and Graff separated with the company in October 2019. If accurate, this would make the final project for the writers worked on Sonic Forces for Pontac and Team Sonic Racing for Graff, both of which are subpar games with nearly no redeeming qualities. That, I feel like, was added by you. That last one is subjective, and it might be biased. So
100% accurate.
you put that. You somehow knew I was going to get this article and knew I was going to have to read that. It should be noted that Sega of America often don't take on writers and artists as full-time employees, instead contracting them out on a project-by-project basis, and the duo could be just sitting in contract limbo. However,
which
the
would
lack
be
of
unfortunate, which means that they would make another game.
Yeah. However, the lack of writing credit from Pontac and Team Sonic Racing could show that there could be more going on behind the scenes. It's unclear what brought about these changes and could signal more changes with the Sonic brand in the works of Sega America. I did read some things that it could be possible that they might be working on other games and they just can't say it yet, which is a probability, but the Team Sonic Racing stuff kind of debunks it a little bit.
Yeah. Also at the same time, Ken Pontac is like, I think they said he was like 63 years old, so he's really close to retiring.
Yeah, he's an old dude, man.
And one of them was working on State of Decay. So
Pontac is who will turn 63 this year, and then State of Decay is Pontac.
Yeah. I'm glad to see them gone because they haven't written a good story since Colors.
I can't input on any of this because I didn't play any of the Sonic games from 2010 until now, except for his Generations.
Well, Generations was 11, so I don't think they had anything to do with that. But they definitely worked on Colors, which Colors I think is my favorite 3D game.
I've heard it's really good. I need to play it.
Lost Worlds is a train wreck.
I didn't like that.
Forces is abhorrent. Oh my fucking!
All I remember from that game is apparently Sonic's supposed to be dead, and then Tails is like saying something about Sonic, and Knuckles is like, "Don't talk about his name" or something like "Don't bring him up." Yeah, he's dead, and I'm like, "What the fuck is going on in this game?"
Like some really shitty PTSD going on between like the two of them or the three of them or some shit like that. Like,
oh my god,
Knuckles has always been like the shitty rival character,
like the second in command, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and then like once he's gone, he's just like, I like puts him on this fucking pedestal and it's like, you don't say his name in vain.
That's what this is. Don't say his name in vain.
But the thing is that the apex like shitbag moment from Sonic Forces is when they're all on the battlefield and you have all the robots on one side being run by Infinite, I think his name is.
Yes.
Shitty fucking name. And then the other army being run by Knuckles. And they do the most garbage battle cry running into combat. They have no weapons. They're by themselves. They're just running towards the fucking enemy.
What?
And it's like the most lackluster combat scene. It's like shitty Braveheart, man.
What? Who looked at Sonic and was like, "We need a Lord of the Rings style battle scene"?
Ken Pontac and Warren Graff. That's
the best part of that game is how you can make your character look so fucking stupid, and it shows in cutscenes.
I hate it. I hate it so much. They should have never gave these motherfuckers create your own character model.
They should have never gave these motherfuckers money. Oh, we told you these news articles are short, and we're trying to work with what we got, ladies and gentlemen, but that's all we got on this one.
No, I'm glad to see them gone. Burn them at the stake.
Oh God, we should be writers for.
Really? You know, they're gonna say it was like, oh yeah, Chris, you should get him to do it, and I'm going to create the worst pseudo porn.
Well,
story.
They're gonna listen to 2 podcasts where both of us get called furries, and they're just gonna be like, "We're gonna hire these furry guys." ScrubVerse must be something to deal with furries.
Don't already label us, man. Don't do that.
No, see, you have to embrace it, and then people won't care. The more you hate something, the more people will try to associate it with you. Have you not been watching YouTube in the last 10 years?
No.
You're a liar.
Sit under a rock.
So you don't get corona.
Exactly. I don't like shit. I don't go outside.
I don't like shit. I don't like people. Tell me about this TurboGrafx, because that has shit to do with corona as well.
Yeah, I got 2 bullets on this shit, man.
This should have been an icebreaker. I don't know why. It's a
another
news
victim
article
of the coronavirus has been tallied. The PC Engine Mini was scheduled for release on March 19th. However, Konami, the shitlords that they are, fuck them, announced on March 6th that the events of the COVID-19 has halted production and shipment of these new products. No new dates have been announced, but Konami is hoping to ship them, quote unquote, as soon as possible. I haven't heard any fucking marketing for the TurboGrafx 16 Mini
at all. I remember months ago when we had first talked about it.
We talked about it, but like they haven't hyped it up. They haven't been released. So there's a distinct difference between what Nintendo did and what Sega did and what Konami did.
Yes.
Okay. So Nintendo was just like, yo, we're releasing this. And everyone got like kind of excited.
Yeah.
Sega fucking dragged this shit out and like, yo, we're releasing it 10 games at a time. And every single announcement was more hype than the last one.
They were pretty good, even though those things are starting to go on sale now.
Yeah. And you know what? Fine. That's fine.
Get you one and mod it.
Get you one, mod it. They're the best mini that's out there. But Konami was just like, yeah, we might do this. Will it get us money? Will you buy this? Otherwise, you're just going to go back to making pachinko machines.
Dude, don't bring up... Every time you say the pachinko machines, it reminds me of the King of Fighters and the Castlevania ones.
Wait, King of Fighters has a pachinko machine?
Yeah, there was one where it was some kind of trailer, and I was like, oh shit, this looks like a King of Fighters new game. And it's like, nah, psych, it's a pachinko machine, motherfucker. Yeah. Look it up later. We're almost there.
We're at the end.
Like, that's what else do you want us to say, people? Coronavirus is stopping everything. I can't get Ring Fit. Chris can't get a TurboGrafx, whatever. We can't go to any fucking conventions.
What made you assume that I wanted that? I want the Japanese one.
You just proved my point.
One, okay, yeah, fuck you.
The Japanese ones get manufactured in Japan or in China as well. Corona. Wash your ass.
Wash your ass and your face.
Don't touch your face.
Wash your ass.